With 355 horses under the hood, it's a car designed to provide pure performance. Today, we are exploring a beast of a car that is the 1968 Shelby GT500 Mustang. So, why is a car that was made 50 years ago still giving people a chill? Was it because of its massive V8 engine? Or was it something else? Well, if you want to know why this car was so special, watch this video until the end to find out. Let's dive right in. If you thought the GT500 was the first ever Mustang, then you're wrong. Because the Mustang legacy began back in 1964 when Ford introduced their very first Mustang to the world. And this car was simply good. And why was that? For starters, it had a 289 cubic inch water-cooled V8 engine that produced 210 horsepower and 300 pound-feet of torque. With this engine, the car could reach a top speed of 110 miles per hour. Although it was a great car, it wasn't enough. That is when Ford got the idea to join hands with Carroll Shelby. With his racing background and Ford's engineering skills, the Shelby Mustang was born and went on to be one of the greatest cars ever built. At its heart was a 428 cubic inch V8 that boasted a bore of 4.3 inches and a stroke of 3.78 inches, giving it a massive displacement of 428 cubic inches or 7 liters. This combination of size and stroke gave it the perfect mix of low-end torque and high-end power. When it comes to raw power, the 428 Cobra Jet didn't disappoint. It cranked out an impressive torque of 440 pound-feet at just 3,400 RPM and an incredible 355 horses, enough to push you back into your seat with a stomp on the accelerator. Having such a massive engine under its hood, this car could accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 6.6 seconds. And with a top speed of 140 miles per hour, the GT500 was lightning quick. Even its biggest rival, the Chevrolet Camaro SS396, could not match its 0 to 60 record or its top speed. Imagine hitting such insane speeds back in 1968 when no other cars could. Truly legendary, right? Because cars like the Camaro and Pontiac were struggling to break the 7-second mark when the GT500 was cruising to 6.6 seconds. Having explored its engine, let's now dive into the car's stunning design and overall details. The car had a classic independent coil spring setup in the front that made the rides in this car very comfortable. The suspension soaked up the bumps, kept the car planted, and provided the kind of cornering stability that would make a Camaro jealous. But as it was a muscle car, the most important factor was control, because without control, this car could get you killed. So, to give it more control, they added a set of heavy-duty shocks and a beefed-up rear suspension. And the rear axle of the car was fitted with a leaf spring setup because this could keep that rear end planted when the V8 came alive. Even with all these, the car still needed some big brakes to stop it, and that is why it was fitted with massive 15-inch drum brakes to keep the car in check no matter how aggressively you attacked a corner. With all these fittings and upgrades, the handling of this car was like a dream. In all terms, this car had the perfect blend of power and precision. While it was equipped with all the necessary features for optimal control, it certainly didn't compromise on its badass appearance, because when it came to looks, the 1968 Shelby GT500 was in a class of its own. While its competitors often struck with the same old boxy designs, the Shelby Mustang had a fierce, muscular stance that immediately made it stand out. Its wide body, aggressive front grille, and iconic racing stripes gave it an elegant, yet aggressive look. The most famous part of its design was the functional power bulge hood scoop. But it wasn't just for looks. It helped cool the engine and kept the performance high. One of the most memorable design features of the GT500 was its fastback roof, giving the car that sleek, aggressive look while also improving aerodynamics for better speed. Although the car was a beast in the streets, it was better in the tracks. The GT500 was built with racing in mind. It took part in NASCAR, Trans Am, and endurance racing. So this car may be seen in the streets, but it is also a track-ready performance car. Now let's discuss the most crucial factor, money. When the 1968 Shelby GT500 Mustang was launched, it came with a starting price of around $4,000. While that might not seem like much today, back then, $4,000 was big bucks. So let me ask you this. If you were back in 1968, would you buy one of these for $4,000? I know I would have bought this car without any second thoughts. because despite the massive price tag, the Shelby Mustang was worth every penny. But here's the catch. The big engine under its hood that powered this car was not economical. Having a mileage of just 12.4 miles per gallon, this car was a serious gas guzzler. And due to all these reasons, even after 50 years since its release, this car has a current value of well over $100,000. And people just love to get their hands on one of these cars to tune them and bring that car alive. With only around 5,000 units ever made, getting this car into your garage will not only be expensive, but also incredibly difficult to track down. But while the car had the looks, power, and performance, there was still more to it. This car even made it to Hollywood. Movies like Gone in 60 Seconds gave the Mustang even more popularity. But the main reason for its fame was the Shelby badge that it carried, because Carroll Shelby wasn't just any car designer. He was a racing legend, and having a Shelby badge on your car made it special. Moreover, his expertise ensured that the GT500 wasn't just fast, it was also a more refined driving experience. By making a car that was engineered to deliver power without sacrificing handling or control, it stood above all its competitors. Without Shelby's influence, the Mustang would never have been transformed into the high-performance, world-renowned icon it became. But did you know that the GT500 has a twin? Yeah, you heard it right. For the 1968 model year, Shelby also introduced a special gem, the GT500 KR, which stands for King of the Road. Essentially, the KR was a GT500 fitted with the new 428 cubic inch Cobra Jet V8, replacing the Police Interceptor engine. Unlike its bigger sibling, the GT500 KR stayed closer to stock, delivering 335 horsepower. And this car was a hit in the market because the GT500 KR accounted for nearly a third of Shelby's sales that year. Specifically, 1,452 of the 4,658 units sold in 1967 left Carroll's shop with the Cobra Jet engine under the hood. And because Shelby did not use the King of the Road badge beyond 1967, the GT500 KR is a rare one-year gem. Although the GT500 was a dominant car, it had some serious competition too. The Camaro and Charger were the major competitors for the GT500. And both of these cars have V8 engines like the GT500. The Camaro was packed with a 396 cubic inch V8, and the Charger had a 383 cubic inch V8 under its hood. The legacy of the GT500 still continues to live on in the 2020 Shelby GT500. Like its legendary predecessor, this car too has a 5.2-liter V8 engine known as the Predator engine, and it produces a jaw-dropping 760 horsepower and 625 pound-feet of torque. The powerhouse engine is paired with a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission, allowing the GT500 to deliver blistering acceleration and track-ready performance. It has the ability to hit 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 3.5 seconds and achieve a top speed of over 180 miles per hour. This car continues to carry on the Shelby Mustang legacy. So, the next time someone asks what made the 1968 Shelby GT500 so special, just point them to that legendary 428 Cobra Jet engine, the blistering acceleration, the iconic design, and the way it left its competition eating its dust. This is why even after 50 years, this car is still a legend. Now, what do you think about the Ford Mustangs? And which Mustang is your personal favorite? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on more automotive videos like these.